Well, we have an issue in last night's game, but let's first talk about the Phillies. The Braves are done. I looked at it last night, and I go, the Braves don't have the lineup the Phillies have. They were coming on. They were playing decent ball. And then I looked at the Braves after Ozzie Albies in the lineup. Look at him. Murphy, the catcher, flat can't hit. Eli White? Who the frick is Eli White? Michael Harris hits eighth now, and their shortstop is now 166-pounder named Nick Allen. They just don't have the horses to compete with the Phillies. They're a decent team, but the Phils have a way better lineup. Now, that manifested itself last night with Ranger Suarez, who pitched very well, but his ratio ball strikes was not very good. He hit 63 strikes, 40 balls, a lot of 3-2 counts, and the Braves couldn't do anything with him. So the Phillies sent him back out there after 6 innings with 92 pitches. And I'm going, okay, if there's the one thing that we have to continue to harp on, it's the fact that they don't trust anybody to get him through 6 innings, and that the starting pitching has to get him through 6 innings. Now, last night they stretched Ranger Suarez out a little bit. He finished with 103 pitches. And that's not normally what you want to do with Ranger Suarez. But there is the weakness. And I've said it yesterday, and I've said it repeatedly. They need to add one more piece in the bullpen, which brings me to the starting rotation as the Phillies go forward. Wheeler and Luzardo have been magnificent. They're your top 2 guys right now. And then you got Sanchez, Suarez, and Nola. Now, Ranger Suarez is pitching well again. Do you risk not keeping him in the starting rotation when playoff time comes? Because, listen, you don't need 5 pitchers. So what are you going to do with Nola? Nola is probably not a good bullpen choice. You probably have to keep him in the rotation. Ranger Suarez is the only guy, in my opinion, who can convert to the bullpen where you do need another left-hander. And if you project and go, okay, Ranger will be the second left-hander with Matt Strahm, and then I have to find a right-handed hammer somewhere along the line, and I'm not going to trade Suarez for it. Bill Colarulo's with us today. Ray Dunn is with us today. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, good morning, Mike. Good morning, Ray. Watching Ranger battle last night, and just it's bringing back memories over the last couple of seasons of watching him and doing what he does, and we've seen him perform in the postseason. I'm reluctant to trade Ranger away now. I'm reluctant to do it because if you were to trade Ranger away at the deadline for a bullpen piece, it better be a lights-out bullpen piece. Because if you're giving up a guy that we know is a gamer, and not only have we seen Ranger do it as a starting pitcher, we've seen him come out of the pen in the postseason and perform. He just has that mentality where whatever you ask of him, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be able to do it. I don't know if I want to trade Ranger Suarez right now. Now, look, this could all change depending on how Nola looks when he comes back, depending on if you do bring up Andrew Painter in a month or a month and a half, and he's performing at a high level. Because you're right, you only need 4 starters in the postseason, but I think I would rather have Ranger Suarez, who I know in that bullpen, than going out and making a trade for a guy that maybe doesn't have the same level of postseason experience. It would really have to depend on who you're able to get by trading Ranger Suarez.
Let's go with the absolutes, though. The absolutes are this. The Phillies can't win the World Series without another bullpen piece.
I agree.
Do you agree with that absolute?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so if that's an absolute, I understand your reluctance to trade Ranger Suarez, and I just proposed a different scheme here. But if you could find a guy who also is on a rental situation from another team, that a team goes, well, we're not going to re-sign him anyway. We'll take the chance that we can re-sign a starting pitcher other than a bullpen, so we'll give you this bullpen hammer straight up for Ranger, and both teams then have to worry about it from that point on.
So you're looking at a bullpen piece that's contracts expiring as well?
Yes.
Like a guy who's going to be a free agent?
I think that would have to be the caveat of any kind of trade, that somebody's going to give you a guy. Because Ranger Suarez, you're giving that guy for what could be a rental with Ranger Suarez. So if it's a rental for a rental, that would make more sense to the team that's trading that guy.
Exactly, because I had Dawood, one of our avid listeners, tweeted at me this morning saying, hey, would you trade Ranger straight up for Felix Bautista with Baltimore? But if you're the Baltimore Orioles, why would you do that? Suarez is going to be a free agent. Batista's under team control for another 2 years. So I don't think that you're going to do that if you're the Baltimore Orioles.
Unless you think you can re-sign Ranger Suarez. But now, I don't know what his price would be. But he's a premier left-handed starting pitcher. So he's got a high value.
But you would have to be pretty convinced. Like, I would think if I'm a team and I trade for Ranger, are you really going to be convinced that you'll be able to sign him? He's got Scott Boras as his agent. This will be the first time where you can get that real big payday as a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be in a...
Probably not, unless you think the Orioles are having a down year. They had a young team that you thought was going to be a contender, and maybe they ride that thing and say, well, we need that guy anyway. But, that's down the road. At this particular situation, it makes a lot of sense for me to have Suarez be your second left-hander in that pen.
I agree with you. I like the idea of having Suarez as your second left-hander in the pen. And then maybe what you do instead, and I don't love it, but if it's the necessary evil, you trade away a prospect to fix that high-leveraged arm. You get maybe another right-hander who can throw some heat. It's an interesting dilemma, but at the same time, it's not a bad problem to have right now.
Yeah.
You got an abundance of starting pitchers.
It's not, except when you look last night and you send a guy out with 92 pitches to complete another inning. And then you go, geez, I wish I had a sixth-inning guy I could count on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which they don't have, and you mentioned it earlier. They're pushing all their starters. They're pushing all their starters. But look, it works last night. You go 6 strong from Ranger, and then, boom, Kirkering, 0 earned. Right to Strom, 0 earned. And then how about the Jordan Romano revival tour, Ray?
7th, 8th, and 9. Yeah, I got it. 7th, 8th, and 9. Sometimes you need 6.
Yeah, and in the postseason, what are you going to do? But if you had, I wouldn't mind Ranger Suarez coming out to pitch that 6th inning in the postseason.
In the postseason?
Yeah.
He's over 100 in a midseason game. I listen, I'm not going to complain about it. The Phillies are a better team. You can look at both lineups and go, the Braves pale. They pale now as far as the Phillies go. Now let's get to the crux of the matter as we get into the break. Retaliation. Bryce Harper gets plunked with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And lucky it was that Spencer Strider is still feeling his oats because that would have been 99 on the elbow, the surgically repaired elbow. That would tick me off as a pitching staff. Now, I know a lot of people go, well, you don't do it in retaliation. You don't have to do it right away. No! It's the first inning. You do it right away. So I look at the top of the second. Who leads off? Ozzie Albies. Down goes Albies. Down goes Albies. Or you wait one more inning, and the second hitter in the third inning is Acuna Jr. Bang goes Acuna. It's 1-0. It's early in the game. You still have plenty of game to play. Now, after the third, no, I don't do it because it looks like it's going to be a 1-0 game for a really long time. But at that moment, Bill, bang, this is Bryce Harper. This isn't Johan Rojas. This is Bryce Harper, surgically repaired elbow. You cannot stand for that.
You and I couldn't be farther apart on this one, man. Like, put the club down, Neanderthal. All right? We're in 2025. Throwing at somebody, to me, we are so past that. See, here's what I don't understand about you, and someone already said this on the YouTube chat. You are so anti-fighting in hockey. So anti-fighting in hockey, which I think is a part of the game, but yet you're calling to throw 100 mile an hour at somebody in baseball? Come on.
He's not throwing 100 mile an hour. He's not throwing 100 mile an hour. Ranger Suarez doesn't throw 100 mile an hour. All right?
90.
He's soft.
90.
He's softer than that. The point is that you have to retaliate to keep your sanity. And you keep bringing this hockey thing up. Hockey is officiated. Baseball is not. That's the difference.
Listen.
Your best player got plunked on the elbow, surgically repaired. Send a statement out. I was listening to your buddy Ricky Metallico last night.
Ricky would have thrown out.
Right away.
Yeah, Ricky Bowe would have thrown out.
Right away.
But let me ask you, do you think Strider did it on purpose?
It doesn't matter.
He didn't do it on purpose.
It doesn't matter that you didn't do it on purpose. You hit the best player in the lineup.
I'm so past that. I think that's
because
the most ridiculous
you're
thing.
not a baseball man, Bill.
These
you're
unwritten
a football
rules.
man. You're used to sports with officials who legislate that kind of stuff.
Do you know why they're unwritten rules, Mike? Because if you wrote them down, you'd realize how stupid they are.
Oh, so
that's
fighting's
why.
not stupid.
No.
Fighting's not stupid in hockey. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. Retaliation. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.